21-year-old Jack Teixeira has appeared in court after he was arrested for allegedly releasing classified military documents on Discord.
Eva Kaili, the former vice president of the European Parliament involved in a corruption scandal, is finally out of prison.
France is waiting for the decision by the country's Constitutional Council on the legitimacy of the government's pension reform.
Climate activists are celebrating the closure of Germany's last 3 nuclear reactors, but they say the storage of nuclear waste is still a problem.
It was an arrest broadcasted across the world. FBI agents swarming the man suspected of one of the U.S.'s most serious confidential document leaks in the past decade. Jack Teixeira appeared in court on Friday. The 21-year-old main suspect has been charged under the Espionage Act for leaking documents related to the war in Ukraine. The Air National Guardsman allegedly released the documents on the social media platform Discord before they spread to other sites. It is unclear how he got access to the documents, and the Justice Department is expected to reveal new details about the allegations. Teixeira has been ordered to remain behind bars until a detention hearing set for next Wednesday.
Eva Kaili, the former vice president of the European Parliament involved in a corruption scandal, is finally out of prison. This is her arriving at her home in Brussels after more than 4 months on pretrial detention. She has been released under electronic surveillance while waiting for the trial, and these are her first words to journalists.
Thank you. My daughter is waiting for me, so I'm very happy that I will be with her in a bit. So thank you. Thank you. We will talk soon. We will talk soon. Thank you.
Our feet, guys, our feet.
She is charged with participation in a criminal organization, corruption and money laundering. Several bags full of cash were found in her Brussels home prior to her detention on 9 December 2022. Kaili is the last suspect to be released among the 6 people involved in the cash for favors scheme, with large sums of money allegedly paid out by Qatar and Morocco in order to influence European policy making. The 2 countries denied their implication.
As he inspected reconstruction work in Notre Dame cathedral in Paris, France's president was hoping for completion today of another critical rebuilding project, his overhaul of France's pension system. Emmanuel Macron's visit, amid a heavy police presence, marks the 4th anniversary of the fire that ravaged the church. The city remains tense ahead of a decision by France's Constitutional Council this evening on the legitimacy of a reform that raises the retirement age to 64. Macron pushed it through by decree, and the court has the power to reject the law, entirely or partially. If it's approved, the country can expect more of the union-led protests of recent weeks. Most have been peaceful, but some have been marred by violence, reflecting the deep unpopularity of the reform. Demonstrations are already planned in several cities ahead of the court's ruling.
Russia has re-energized its assault on Bachman as the forces of the Ministry of Defense and Wagner Group have improved cooperation, the UK Defense Ministry says in its daily update, adding that the Ukrainian defense still holds the western district of the town, but has been subjected to particularly intense Russian artillery fire over the previous 48 hours. Ukrainian forces face significant resupply issues, but have made orderly withdrawals from the positions they have been forced to concede. The Institute for the Study of War says Russian forces continue to make territorial gains in Bachman. Geolocated footage shows Russian forces advance further west into central Bachmut and made marginal advances in the south and southwest of the town. Russia's defense ministry claimed its troops had already surrounded Bachmut, but the head of Wagner Group said it was too early to say and stated that Ukrainian forces continue to defend Bachmut and provision and reinforce their forces within the city. Now, what does the Ukraine General Staff say? It reported that Ukrainian forces repelled Russian ground attacks in Bachmut, northwest of Bachmut, near Chromove and Bogdanivka, and southwest of Bachmut near Pretechene. Ukrainian military officials stated that Russian forces deployed unspecified elements from the Avdiivka area to reinforce the offensive operations around Bachman, confirming the Institute for the Study of War's long-standing assessment that the Russian military, in its current form, is unable to conduct large-scale simultaneous offensive campaigns on multiple axes.
No other country has more influence on Russia than China. That's what Germany's foreign minister said at a press conference in Beijing on Friday. China's Minister of Defense announced he will visit Russia on Sunday, mere hours after Annalena Baerbock made the following statement.
Es ist gut, dass China signalisiert hat, sich hier für eine Lösung zu engagieren. Aber ich muss offen sagen, dass ich mich frage, warum die chinesische Positionierung bisher nicht die Aufforderung an den Aggressor Russlands beinhaltet, den Krieg zu stoppen.
Since the beginning of Russia's war in Ukraine, Beijing has declared itself officially neutral in the conflict. While it has never condemned Moscow, Foreign Minister Qin Gang says peace and talks are the only solution.
我向外长女士详细介绍了台湾问题的历史经纬。台湾是中国的台湾，没有人比两岸同胞更希望台海保持和平稳定。实现祖国和平统一是两岸同胞的共同愿望。中国将坚定捍卫国家主权和领土完整。中国的领土一寸都不能少。
After days of Chinese military drills around Taiwan, Baerbock affirmed that Berlin had a common position when it comes to Taiwan's autonomy. This just a week after French President Emmanuel Macron urged the EU not to follow Washington or Beijing and take a stance. These anti-nuclear protesters in the northern German town of Kiel are hanging up 1,000 origami birds. The brightly coloured paper creations represent a decades-long wish to end the use of nuclear power in the country. They will be celebrating on Saturday when Germany's 3 nuclear power plants are shut down. But the country is still grappling with the issue of where to put its nuclear waste.
We think that using a high-risk technology we can't control for sure, and we don't have even temporary, not to speak of final, storage. It's very, very wrong.
The use of renewable energy has significantly increased since Germany decided it would stop using its nuclear facilities. The meltdown of nuclear reactors at Fukushima, Japan in 2011 led to safety concerns in Germany, even among former supporters of nuclear power. That's when the former government said that all plants would be shut down by the end of 2022. But the deadline was delayed after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine led to growing concerns over access and the rising price of energy.
Critics of the decision say that domestic nuclear power can be used to decrease costs for Germany's industries. They say other renewable energy does need to increase, but it'll take a long time until it can fully supply the country's needs.
Well, I mean, clearly renewable energy will play a large role in Germany. My concern is that this will take time. We need a huge amount of energy given the transformation that we see. And so really building the capacity that we need will take years, in my view, probably a decade.
Campaigners say the shutdown of nuclear plants on Saturday is a big accomplishment for them. But they insist they will continue to fight against financial investments in nuclear power across the continent.
Instead of spending money on nuclear plants or making more nuclear waste, we should put this money into the development of renewable energies. It's better and it's cleaner.
More protests will be held on Saturday near the 3 nuclear plants across Germany.
A day after it was postponed because of bad weather, Europe's JUICE has taken off. Its goal? To explore Jupiter and its icy moons, and maybe find habitable environments and extraterrestrial life along the way. But it'll be a long journey, taking 8 years in total, because you'll have to go past a couple detours, gaining some gravitational assistance along the way. JUICE will first travel towards Venus, then return to orbit Earth in 2029, before shooting off again towards Jupiter, where it could potentially spot our closest neighbors.
This is the story of a former American astronaut who has set himself the ambitious task of helping Ukraine. Scott Kelly is 59 years old and holds the record for the longest ever stay on the International Space Station. In October, he was contacted by United24, a global crowdfunding initiative launched by the Ukrainian president to help his country.
I think the reason I was asked, or I know the reason I was asked, is because it was, I think it was noticed that right from the very beginning of this war, I was very vocal on social media.
Kelly says he didn't hesitate more than 1 second before accepting the role and became one of United24's ambassadors, alongside Star Wars legend Mark Hamill and the iconic Barbra Streisand. In a few months, he raised nearly €600,000 and was able to buy 10 state-of-the-art ambulances. A paramedic in his youth, he knew the importance of first aid.
And as an astronaut on a spaceflight crew, there's always 2 crew medical officers. If you happen to have a physician on board, generally it's the physician will be one of them. But I was always one of those people, having had that previous background. So it's something that is kind of important, almost nostalgic to me.
In November 2022, the former Navy captain travelled to Ukraine. There he visited children in hospital as well as President Volodymyr Zelensky. An astronaut who completed 4 missions to space, Kelly says he is surprised that the world can't do more for Ukraine.
And we have these problems on Earth. And I'm flying around the Earth on this $100 billion space station, arguably the most challenging, hardest thing we have ever done. And if we can do that, why can't we solve that problem down there?